All right, welcome to a special roadcast edition of the Comedy on 11 podcast. I'm Thom, Tran. Normally, I would be in my studio or in a hotel room with a comedian friend of mine talking about comedy and music. But I am in Utah at the moment. I'm driving through Utah, and I am driving across the country. I'm driving from LA to the East Coast. I have a bunch of gigs. And I want to take the opportunity to do this because I'm going to be gone for a while. Actually, by the time this comes out, I will be home already. But yeah, I wanted to do this for a couple reasons. I'm not going to have the opportunity to sit down with another comedian to get this done. And I've only got 2 other episodes in the can and ready to go up. So this is going to be me driving across the country. You're going to come with me while I do this, and I'm doing it by myself. I am driving from Los Angeles to Detroit, and then Washington, D.C., and then my hometown of Buffalo, New York, and then the only flight I'm taking on this trip is I'm flying to North Carolina to do the Army's 250th birthday ball at Fort Bragg, also known as the Motherland. And yeah, so I wanted to do this. Oh wait, and then I got to go back to Buffalo, drive to Chicago, and then going home back to LA. It's like a 2.5 week process. So I decided to drive. And what's funny to me is the number of people who, when I told them that I was doing this, everyone was like, why? Why are you driving across the country? And I think there are a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, I have a bunch of shows, and they're all on the East Coast. And here's the thing about me. I don't know if I've ever told anyone. I hate flying. Not just the unnatural act of zooming through the air at 500 miles an hour in a large condensed container 35 to 38,000 feet up in the sky. I hate the process of it. I hate everything that goes into flying. Because when I tell people, like I drove to Arizona to headline Stir Crazy Comedy Club a couple weeks ago in Glendale, Arizona, which is like a 6.5, 7-hour drive from Los Angeles. And I told people I was driving, and they're like, why? It's only an hour-and-a-half flight. It's not only an hour-and-a-half flight. The flight is an hour and a half. But from where I live in Los Angeles to LAX, the Los Angeles International Airport, that's an hour and a half. Possibly 2 or more, depending on traffic. And because I had so much merchandise and stuff to bring with me, I got to be there at least 2 hours in advance to get all that stuff in. So now I'm looking at 2, 4, 5.5, let's call it 6 hours just for the flight. And then I would have landed in Glendale. I would have had to rent a car or landed in Phoenix, rented a car, drove to Glendale. That's another hour. So all told, that's 7 hours. It would have been the same amount of time flying as it would have been driving. And the thing with the 7 hours of driving, totally stress-free. Completely stress-free. I don't have children screaming. I don't have to worry about aircraft crews being on time. I don't have to worry about delays. I don't have to worry about weather problems. I don't have to worry about other passengers. None of that. None of that. That's where all the stress comes in addition to the I hate flying part, which is, insane considering I was a paratrooper in the Army. And yes, I understand driving from Arizona or driving from LA to Arizona is significantly more different than driving from LA to the East Coast. Arizona is a 7-hour drive. If I hoof it, I'll get to DC in like 3 days. Well, I got to go to Detroit first. But one of the other reasons I'm doing this is because I remember when I bought my first electric car, which wasn't a good one. It was fine. The range was just terrible. It was a Kia Soul, tiny little Kia Soul. I bought it in 2017. The range was awful. It was like 100 miles. It was a nice little car. The range was dog shit. And it was true for that car because people were like, I want to be able to drive across the country. Like, that was the argument I was hearing a lot from people. They're like, I want a car that I can drive across the country in. But the number of people I know who have driven across the country is very small. The number is much higher for people that when I tell them I'm driving across the country, they go, why? You know, and it's that thing of, oh, we want the ability to have the freedom to do the thing, but we just don't want to do the thing. You know, I want to be able to drive across the country. I just don't want to do it. Which I feel is selfish. Our country prides itself on being the land of the free. But we don't want, a lot of people don't want to actually embrace that freedom. They just want to know it's there. It's a safety blanket. So this drive across the country is kind of an FU to those people, you know? These people are like, oh, I want to do it, but why would you do that? Because I can't. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I don't have a regular job. I'm a stand-up comedian. I have the time to do it. So I'm going to do it. And I think that's another reason people are like, why are you doing this? Because they can't. They don't have the time or the wherewithal or whatever. They have family obligations. They have kids, baseball games and dance recitals they have to go to. They have a regular job. And yes, to drive across the country, it's 3 days to get there, 3 days to get back. If I hoof it, if I stop somewhere and do a thing, yeah, it's going to add some time. I mean, I have 4 gigs over the course of 6 days. So realistically, this trip could take, 8 days. A day to fly out, do the gigs, and a day to fly back. I'm making it, 14 or 15 days. Because I can. I've done this 2 other times. Right in the middle of the pandemic, I think July 2020, I had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and I kind of freaked out, and I was like, I got to drive across the country. My dad was, 75 at the time. I wanted to see him. Everything was crazy. The world was crazy. I was like, I'm going to drive across the country. I'm just going to do it. I also had a nervous breakdown, so I just kind of had to do it. And that wasn't actually the first time I drove across the country. Obviously, when I moved to Los Angeles, I drove across the country. There was a point where I moved a girlfriend across the country, so we drove across the country as well. And that was, if that trip was any indication of how that relationship ended, then it ended exactly the way I thought it was going to. And then in 2021, about a year later, I had another mental breakdown. And I once again drove across the country. But I also had a job at the time. I had to take a mental health leave to do it. Because I very much feel like this is a reset for my brain. And that's another reason I wanted to do this. I get to reset I get to sit in the car for 3 days and reset. I get to listen to 1,000 podcasts that I am not caught up on. I get to listen to whatever music I want to listen to, stare at the beautiful scenery. Like, here, I'll turn the camera around and you can see the scenery in, this is Utah, I believe. Yeah, I think this is Utah at the moment. And I get to take this in. I get to take in this country. Maybe this is just the highway. This is kind of flat. I'll turn the camera around again later when we get to a nicer spot. When I get into Colorado, it's going to be beautiful. But I think that's like 5 hours away. So this is a reset. This is a good little reset for my brain. I'm driving to a job. I'm driving to several jobs actually on the East Coast, but like I said, that Arizona drive, amazing. It was so stress-free. I was just in the car by myself. Get caught in a little bit of traffic. That was about it. And then a few weeks later, I did a burn and turn to Arizona. To North Carolina. I had to go to Camp Lejeune, do a thing for the Marines there. And that was about as trouble-free as a flight as I have ever taken. No traffic getting to the airport, no turbulence flying to North Carolina. But it was still the most stressful part of that trip. The 2 hours to LAX, of sitting there for 2 hours, the 5 hours across the country. And when I got to North Carolina, it was a 2-hour drive to the base. Now, I definitely would not have driven for a turn and burn like that to North Carolina. But as trouble-free as that flight was, it was still super stressful. And then I did another turn and burn to Washington, D.C. last week, 2 weeks ago. Same deal. Fly in, do the gig, turn around, fly back. That one, there was crazy turbulence. There were mechanical delays. There were crew delays. So it was even worse. Obviously, if the trouble-free North Carolina gig was fine, the Washington, D.C. flight was atrocious. I think there was even a point I was sitting in the hotel room in Washington, D.C., and I was thinking about how long I was going to be gone and how long I was going to be away from my girlfriend and my house. And I was like, oh, I'm going to miss all that a lot. So maybe I'll suck it up and I'll do the flight. And then the flight back from DC is when I went, oh no, this sucks. This sucks. Not to mention, like, if I were to do this trip by flight, I would be flying LA to Detroit, Detroit to DC, DC to Buffalo, Buffalo to North Carolina, North Carolina back to LA. That's 5 flights. Which doesn't seem like a lot until you consider all the crap that I have with me for 2 weeks. Because my car is virtually full. Most of it is food. But clothes for 2 weeks. Gym clothes for 2 weeks, because I'm not going 2 weeks without working out. My uniform, my suit. All the stuff that I would have had to take and carry with me or check luggage, and then you're worried about, is the luggage going to show up on time? What happens if my uniform doesn't get there? Then I got to buy a new uniform. And like all this other, admittedly, pretty crazy stuff that I shouldn't have going on in my head is going on in my head, but that's not going to stop. So I have that stress. I have that constant stress of what can possibly go wrong. Here's a list. Here's a list of all the things that could go wrong on this flight just going gig to gig, multiplied by 5 because it's 5 flights. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. Also gets me away from a lot of the stuff that I had on the books that I'm constantly like piling on my plate. You know, booking guests, recording, filming. This is shot on 2 DJI pocket cameras that I will probably splice together one way or another. But, you know, I wanted to make sure we had episodes up after the 2 that air that are already up and ready to go. This is probably going to be a 2-parter. This is going to be me driving to the East Coast and me driving back to the East Coast. Or back from the East Coast. So yeah, this is kind of a reset. I can do it. I have the freedom to do it. I'm taking advantage of that freedom to do it. You know, in America, we love the fact that we have freedom. So I want to take advantage of that fact. I want to be able to take advantage of that freedom to do this. This is the open road. Everybody talks about it. The open road, driving cross country. Well, I'm doing it. So this is what I plan to do on this trip. So like I said, it's like 3 days. 3 days there, 3 days back. But I also want to make sure I get to my gigs on time because they're corporates. They're paying gigs. Ugh, excuse me. Also one of the reasons this is coming out after I get back is because I didn't tell the clients that I was driving. They all assume I'm flying. Just fine, I guess. But I don't need clients freaking out anymore than they are. I think one client actually found out that I was driving, and yeah, that became a situation. I told my agent told the client freaked out. I freaked out a little bit, which is why I left a little bit earlier. I was actually planning on leaving Friday and getting to the first gig like Monday. But I left a little earlier. So I'll probably get into Detroit a little bit earlier, but that gives me the opportunity to do something else I've been wanting to do. I have this AMC A-list card. If you don't know what that is, movie fans like to go see movies. You pay $19 a month. You get to see I think it's 3 movies a week. This is how much I use the card. I should know this. I pay for it every month. I think you get to see 3 movies a week. You know, I got it because if you go to one movie, that's $20. One movie a month pays for it. Unfortunately, I haven't been in one movie a month. I think I got it in February, and I've seen 2 movies since then, and it's June now. So I'm going to be using it up, mainly because Superman's coming out. Fantastic Four is coming out. But with that said, there are movies I wanted to go see, like Sinners. I wanted to go see that. Haven't had time because I've had all this other stuff going on. So if I get in a town early, you know, I get to the Final Destination early. Ooh, Final Destination, Bloodlines. I heard that made a lot of money. If I get into Detroit or DC early and I have the time, I'm going to go see a movie. I got a card. I'll go see a movie. You know? But also, the last time I did this drive, I didn't spend a lot on filling up the car because it's an electric car, but I spent a lot on food because I just ate like crap. I'd show up, I'd get to a city, I'd be like, I'm hungry, and I'd go wherever. This time, I'm making a concerted effort that if I don't eat whatever food I brought with me, when I brought a lot of food with me, mostly fruit, uh, mostly fruit and chicken salad that I made. If I have to stop for food, I'm going to go to a Chili's. This is not sponsored by Chili's, but if they want to, cool. But I've given up on McDonald's and Burger King and those places where, you know, you get a mediocre burger and whatever, and it costs you 15 or 18 bucks. And I've been seeing Chili's has this Chili's 3 for me deal. This is now a commercial for Chili's, even though they're not paying me. There's a Chili's 3 for me deal that's like 10 bucks. You get a burger, fries, soda. It's 10 bucks, and it's a good burger. It has good fries. So this is an insane idea. I'm going to do the cross-country Chili's drive, where if I am forced to stop to eat, I am going to find a Chili's. And normally when I stop to charge my car, it's usually like in a plaza or in a mall, and they usually have restaurants or chain restaurants, whatever, in the plaza. So it's easy. I plug in, I go get something to eat, come out, car's done charging, which is awesome. And the first place I stopped last night to charge was, what was it? Barstow? Yeah, Barstow, California. And there was a Chili's literally in that parking lot. I was like, oh, man. It was 11:30. I'd already eaten. I was tired. I was like, I'm just going to sleep while my car's charging. But I was like, oh, yeah. When I saw that Chili's in the parking lot where I was going to charge, I was like, this is a good idea. This is a fantastic. It's going to cost me 10 bucks every time I stop to eat, 15 with a tip, and it'll be good food, good fixins. So those are the two things I'm planning on doing on this drive. If I get to wherever I'm getting to early, which is what I plan on doing, for my sake and for the client's sake, I'm going to go find a movie theater. I'm going to find a movie theater, and I'm going to go use my AMC A-list card, catch up on the movies that I haven't seen. I am going to take advantage of the $19 a month that I've been paying for this. I'm going to do the Chili's thing, too. Now, on the way back, I have something different planned. So this is the third time since 2020 that I've done this. So in 5 years, this is my third cross-country drive. And the thing about driving with this particular car and the charging infrastructure, if you type in an address that's across the country, because a car only has a certain radius that it can go before you charge up, and as robust as the charging infrastructure is, it is still more limited than internal combustion engine gas station cars. With that said, the first 2 times I've done this drive, I noticed that I had to stop in the same places. Like I'd stop in Barstow or Yerma or whatever right outside of Vegas, and then stop at Prim, which is fine, normal. That's normal what I do when I drive to Vegas. But when I got to St. George, Utah, the first 2 times, it had me stop at the same spot, which is this tiny little supercharger spot. It had 3 superchargers, just 3. If you see most supercharger areas now, there's like 20 or 40, minimum a dozen. But this had 3. And it was right next to a Starbucks. And I realized, oh, it's going to take me along the same path. Same with when I get to Iowa. There's a grocery store in Iowa. Can't remember the name of it. But it's the same grocery store. I wanted to see if this time, with it being 5 years since the first time I've done it, 4 years since the last time I've done it. With the infrastructure growing the way it has, if there is going to be a different route, and already there has. The first place I stopped at last night was different. I'd never stopped there before. The second stop was Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas, which I had never stopped at before. And when I got to St. George, Utah, also a new spot outside their convention center that I'd never been to before. So I'll be partially interested to see where the route will take me and what I'll get to see on this route. I'll be a little disappointed if it, takes me to the same grocery store in Iowa that I went to last time. Not that it wasn't a nice grocery store. It was a very nice grocery store. It's just I want to see something different. But also on the way back, what I'd like to do is, because I've driven through Iowa 2 or 3 times now, and I've never taken the opportunity to stop in Riverside, Iowa. And as a Star Trek fan, that's insane. And for those of you who are listening who don't know, Riverside, Iowa is canonically the birthplace of, or the future birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk. So on March 22nd, 2266, is it 2266 or 2166? I'm pretty sure it's 2266. 2233. I was wrong all around. So it's March 22nd, 2233 in Riverside, Iowa. Wow, I got that wrong? I feel bad. Ugh. I feel dirty as a Star Trek fan. I got the day right, because I celebrate the day every year. And who knows if the world's going to exist in 2233. That's sad. What is that? Oh, farm. It's just a farm. These cameras are cool. I don't know if you noticed, but the cameras are following my face. I have these DJI mic cameras that are recording my face. So anyway, March 22nd, 2233, Riverside, Iowa, canonically the birthplace of Captain James Tiberius Kirk. It's right off the freeway. By right off the freeway, I mean it's like 10 miles off the freeway or something. So on my way back, I'm going to stop in Riverside, Iowa. I brought a Starfleet uniform. Brought a Starfleet uniform. It's in my bag. There's a plaque to Captain Kirk. I think the week after I show up, the last week of June every year in Riverside, they have like a Trek festival, like celebration of Trek. I'm going to miss it by a couple of days, but I feel like when I arrive there, they'll probably be setting up for this. I'm assuming they will be setting up for the Trek Fest celebration to James T. Kirk. I just got photos the other day of the night I gave an award to William Shatner. Just a few months ago. A couple months ago? I don't know. Jay Leno called and asked me to do a thing to give an award to William Shatner. And I was like, yeah, take my money. What do I got to do? Oh, you're giving me money to do this? Cool. So that's the big thing. That's the big thing I'm looking forward to on this drive. Stopping in Riverside, Iowa, going to the future birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk. And I can only imagine at some point between now, 2025, and 2233, someone whose last name is Kirk is going to move to Iowa. Man, unless their wife is a Star Trek fan, or maybe the wife is a Star Trek. Well, maybe they're both Star Trek fans. Now, how would this work? So the guy's name would have to be Kirk. The wife would have to take the name, unless her last name is Kirk and she decides to do it herself, which is, ladies, you do you. A couple would have to move to Riverside, Iowa, and plan it so they get pregnant 9 months before March 22nd, 2233, and then name that child James Tiberius Kirk. God, could that work? Could that work? I don't know. I mean, if you get two big Star Trek fans, it could totally work. Interesting. Anyway, so that's my dad's 80th birthday. I'm going to New York for that. The Army's 250th birthday ball at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which by the time this comes out, I will have already hosted. That's a big deal. But those are gigs. Those are not my dad's birthday, but the birthday ball, that's a gig. It's a thing I got to do. Yeah. So the Kirk thing, that's going to be my big, like, on this trip, what do I want to do? Like, some people go to the Grand Canyon. Some people go to see a big ball of yarn or something. I'm going to go to a city where a fictional starship captain will be born in 230 some odd years. That's what I plan on doing. So that's why I'm doing this drive. Let's talk about some music stuff now. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, driving by myself. Oh, also, if you see me looking around, the car's on autopilot. I'm not asleep. So the car is essentially driving itself, which is good. I have like a half hour before I get to the next charging spot. Oh, I'm also keeping track of, you can't see it. Doesn't matter. I'll put up a photo. I'm keeping track of how much it's costing me and how long it takes me to fuel up and things like that. But just a little experiment for myself in my own head. Yawning a lot because I left LA last night at 8 p.m. because I wanted to miss all the traffic. And my thought was, if I leave at 8, I can get to Vegas by midnight, crash in Vegas for a little bit, and then be on my way. No, that did not happen. I stopped in Barstow to fill up, and by the time I got to Barstow, it was 11 p.m., and I just slept until 4 a.m. Like, I just slept 5 solid hours. And then I got up at 4 and I was like, all right, well, it's time to get driving. So I wanted to miss the driving to work traffic in Las Vegas. So still very tired. Still in Utah. I believe, let's see, where am I right now? I'm headed to Beaver, Utah, which I think I stopped at before. Richfield, Utah, I know I stopped at to charge. Green River, pretty sure I stopped there. Grand Junction, I know I stopped there. And then Glenwood. Oh, also Glenwood. So there's this new guitar, while we're talking about music. There's this new guitar, carbon fiber, called the KLOS Grand Mini Cutaway. It's carbon fiber. Hold on. Trip planner adjusts charging stops to ensure you reach your destination with the higher energy level. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. The car just told me something. So anyway, there is this carbon fiber guitar called the KLOS Grand Cutaway Mini. And if you don't know what carbon fiber is, Charging, yeah. Oh, my navigation just like totally died on me. Where's my charging stations? What's up? Beaver. Beaver, Utah. Yeah. Why is this totally? Yeah, do it. Do that. Um, I'm in the middle of Utah, middle of nowhere, so cell service is not great. And since my autopilot and maps and whatever rely on cellular, it's giving me an issue. Doesn't matter. It's fine. It's got it fixed. Got it fixed. What was I saying? Oh, the KLOS carbon fiber Grand Cutaway Mini. It's got a detachable neck. It's a travel guitar. And I want it. I don't need it. I shouldn't buy it, but I want it. But it's like $3,000. The one I want, the model I want. It's like $3,000. So, although I am usually quite irresponsible with my money, unless I can talk KLOS Guitars into sending me one so I can review for the channel before I make a decision on buying one, I am going to stop in Glenwood, Colorado, at Glenwood Music to try out this guitar. I've never played a carbon fiber guitar before, so that's part of it. But also, I'm thinking about spending $3,000 on a guitar, which if my girlfriend is listening to this, she's not happy to hear that. She doesn't want to hear that. I'm just thinking about it. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. But also, I've been trying to sell my Taylor 612 CE for a while, and that guitar is worth $2,000. So I think what I told myself is I won't buy the KLOS, spelled KLOS, which coincidentally is the name of a radio station in Los Angeles, a rock station, KLOS, that my buddy Fraser Smith works at. And it all comes together. Comedy music, baby. Comedy on 11. Fraser, very funny stand-up comedian. So the KLOS guitar, carbon fiber, detachable neck. I've been watching videos, I've been doing research. It looks pretty boss. So I'm taking great consideration into purchasing one. However, I gotta play it. I gotta try it out. Here's the problem. You can't just walk into a Guitar Center and try one. Guitar Center is not an authorized retailer, and there are no authorized retailers in Los Angeles at all. There were at some point, at one point there were a couple on the west side, but now there are just a handful and they're spread across the country. But one of those places is Glenwood Music in Glenwood, Colorado. And I happen to have to stop in Glenwood. No, seriously, like, there's a charging station in Glenwood that I have to go to. So I'll charge up, then I'll go down to Glenwood Music, which I think is only like, 5 or 6 miles away from the highway. And I'll go down to Glenwood and I will try out this guitar. I'll see how I like it. If I like it a lot, I might buy it. But I want the cutaway. I really want, there's like a very specific one that I want. So we'll see. That's the other reason I'm doing this drive right now. To go to a guitar store in a state I'd normally never go to. So there's that. But also, I want to talk about this Back to the Future guitar that is, there's a big hubbub about it right now. So, if you don't know the story, there's a store in Los Angeles called Norm's Rare Guitars, owned by a guy named Norm. And Norm sells exactly what the name of the store says, rare guitars. He also consults to Hollywood films and like gets rare instruments to film shoots. And he is the guy who recommended the Gibson ES 345 that Marty McFly plays in Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox's character, Marty McFly, plays at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, where he tries to get his parents back together. And if you know anything about this special guitar, the guitar itself is a time traveler, because the movie takes place in 1955. Well, it starts in 1985. Marty McFly goes back to 1955, where his parents meet, and he's got to get them to fall in love so that he doesn't disappear from the future. That's the basics of it. 85, back to 55, and then he's got to get back to the future. He's got to get back to 1985. But the reason the guitar itself is a time traveler is because the movie takes place, the bulk of the movie takes place in 1955, but the Gibson ES 345 that Marty is playing is from 1958. And really only nerds know that. Guitar nerds know that. Movie nerds know that. Not even movie nerds. Back to the Future specific nerds know that. So the red Gibson ES 345 that Marty is playing, that's got the Bigsby and the Veritone switch on it, is actually from 1958. So somehow that guitar made it back to 1955. Anyway, so there is a website now called Lost to the Future, because apparently Gibson Guitars and the makers of Back to the Future, the film, are looking for this guitar. They say they can't find it. There's a website up called Lost to the Future. They had this great promo video. I can't believe they got everybody back for this, but Michael J. Fox is in the promo video. Leah Thompson's in the promo video. Christopher Lloyd. Bob Gale, who wrote the movie. I think Norm from Norm's Rare Guitars is in this promo video. Even a fun little bit with Huey Lewis of the News fame, who, if you don't know, how do you not know this? No shame. Some people just don't know this, but Huey Lewis in the News did the theme song to Back to the Future, which is called The Power of Love. And then he played a cameo in the movie as a teacher who told Marty McFly that his band was playing too loud. So there's this very, oh God, I'm getting choked up talking about this. Because, God, I can't believe I'm getting choked up talking about this. In real life, Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's, so he's very sick. Still, he's doing as good as he can, but he's very sick. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm choking up talking about this. I feel like Kevin Smith after watching anything. There's a sweet moment where, in the movie, Huey Lewis has a microphone and he says, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, you're just too darn loud." And in this promo clip, he walks into the room where Michael J. Fox is, and it's completely unplanned. Walks into the room where Michael J. Fox is with a blowhorn. He says, Michael, I'm sorry, you're just too darn loud." And you can see the look on Michael J. Fox's face. He's like, "Huey? Is that Huey?" And he goes to hug him, and it's this, I literally have tears. Oh my God, what? Is this menopause? Do I have menopause? I'm literally I'm crying about this scene in a promo video for guitar. It is the sweetest thing I've ever seen. Just the look on Michael J. Fox's face as he hugs Huey Lewis and he goes, "Oh, my brother," and I just, oh my God, I'm tearing up like a lot. Oh wow, that's something. Anyway, oh my God. Anyway, so Gibson guitar and the makers of Back to the Future are looking for this Gibson ES345, this red hollow body Gibson ES345. It's got a Bigsby and a Veritone. Some very distinctive details about this that I got from a YouTube video that I saw about it. Trogly's Guitar Show, which is a great show if you don't watch it or follow it. Super in-depth about Gibson guitars. The dude is crazy in-depth about Gibson guitars. But he breaks down like new instruments, classic instruments, stuff puts out. It's really good. Check it out. So he kind of broke down this search for the ES335 or 345, I should say. And it's clearly a promotional thing. It's some of the comments under the video kind of make it, seem like, oh, they're searching for this guitar, but there's a countdown. There's a countdown on the video. And you kind of go, why is there a countdown? And the prevailing theory is they already have the guitar. They have the guitar. They know where it is. And when the countdown ends in, I believe, October, November timeframe, they're going to announce and release a, God, what would it be? 85, so 25. Oh my God. Is it really 40 years? 2025 minus 1985. Oh my God. As an Asian, I know what you're thinking. Why doesn't he know this off the top of his head? Because I'm a terrible Asian. Awful. This year will be the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. The movie came out in 1985. The prevailing idea is, Gibson Guitars has been releasing these spot-on replicas, remakes of classic guitars like the Greenie, the Peter Green guitar that Kirk Hammett now owns. They did Tony Iommi's left-handed monkey guitar, SG, the monkey guitar. Fender did this with, Clapton's Blackie. They did it with SRV's number 1 and the Lenny. Gibson has been doing it a lot lately. So the prevailing idea at this point is they already have it. This is just a promotional thing. It's viral marketing. They put out this video. Hey, we're looking for this guitar. We want to celebrate the 40th anniversary of it. And then when the timer ends in October or November, they're going to go, we found it, and we're going to sell the exact replica to you for $20,000 or however much they're selling it for. Which, as viral marketing goes, I don't hate it. I appreciate that they're going through the effort that they're going through to do it. It sounds kind of cool. I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure that's what it is. Would it be cool to have one of those? I don't know. I like semi-hollow bodies, but I just got rid of my Lucille a little while ago. When did I get rid of the Lucille? 2 years ago. I have an Epiphone Lucille that I bought. Partially because I just wanted to have a semi-hollow body ES335 style guitar in the studio so I could get those tones for when I wanted to play that kind of music. I wanted one of those guitars. But then I realized like I never play this thing. I almost never. It's so rare that I played that Lucille. I did an episode of my other guitar show, The Story Behind the Strings, just to just to do an episode on it. But I so rarely played it. I sold it. What did I sell it for? Oh, I got my Yamaha FSC-TA with it. Yeah, I sold the Lucille. I played it a couple times. I was like, it's not my thing. I liked it, but it's an Epiphone, but it's a Gibson, big baseball bat size neck. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day wearing my jump boots. It was hard to play for me, and I don't ever use the Veritone. I'm a shred metal guy. I don't need this. So I got rid of the Lucille, and instead I picked up a Wolfgang Van Halen SA-126, which is also a semi-hollow body, but also it's got some rock vibes to it. Also a pretty big neck. Got a chunky neck on it. But also, Wolfie is a tall guy, big guy. So that makes sense on him. I keep it around, again, at this point because I want the tones of a semi-hollow, but also I have like my Van Halen wall. I'll probably put up a photo or video of my Van Halen wall at home in my studio, which is like, it's like a Frankenstein, a purple Wolfgang, and PV Wolfgang, purple PV Wolfgang, and the Wolfgang Van Halen guitar. So, yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Gibson ES345, the Back to the Future guitar. I think when that timer ends, they're gonna release and unveil, a special edition version of that guitar, and then at some point, that'll be a custom shop that'll cost $20,000, and then 6 months or a year later, they'll go, hey, here's the USA-made version for $10,000, and then at some point they go, here's an Epiphone version for $2,500. That's what I think they're gonna do. They did the same thing with Greenie, except without all this buzz and hype behind it. They did a dinner with Kirk Hammett in Nashville or something. But this is in the cultural zeitgeist. It's Back to the Future. It's widely considered the best movie ever. So that'll be interesting. I will be interested to see it. If you want to go take a look at it, check out their website, losttothefuture.com. I also had a thought in my head 2 seconds ago. Oh, another reason I wanted to do this drive? Let me turn the camera around. I don't remember this this portion of my commute. This is the same route I took last time through St. George up to Beaver, Utah to Green River, but I don't remember this. Maybe because mentally I wasn't in a good place at the time. Mentally and emotionally, I was not, I wasn't in a great spot. I'm not gonna lie, was not in a great spot. And then, but also I was like driving at night. I remember getting into St. George, Utah at midnight, and then sleeping there for a few hours before I charged the car, and then driving off into the early dawn. So this is all, I'm seeing this in the daylight for the first time. Now, with that said, it's almost time for me to charge up. It's been an hour that I've been talking to myself, to you, my viewers and listeners. Thank you so much. The plan is to do a part 2 on the drive back, but also I might just do this when I get to Colorado or Nebraska or Iowa. I'm definitely going to do something when I get to Riverside on the way back. Yeah, this is part 1 of my cross-country drive from Los Angeles to the East Coast to do some gigs. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, tell a friend, hit the thumbs up. And really, this was the reason I'm doing this episode is so I don't miss any weeks while I'm gone on the road. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And remember to turn laughs up to 11.